I was actually perusing my LinkedIn feed the other day, and somebody that I used to work with had posted that graph, and it was interesting because, I think a lot of us think about, okay, I need my daily motivation, or I need to be motivated, and I need somebody else motivating me. But the reality is, first off, a lot of times that motivation comes intrinsically. It's us making that decision to take the step forward, or to craft, our daily non-negotiables. And what I loved about this graph was that, it kind of showcased that, yes, you will have some spikes, based purely on adrenaline and motivation and things of that nature. I may go to a conference, or I may see a motivational film, or listen to my favorite song on my drive to meet with a customer, or whatever it is. And I may have a spike, right? I may feel like I'm on top of the world, I can conquer the world, but those things don't sustain. They don't last necessarily. And you're going to have those days where you have to kind of plow through and you're not really feeling it. I've had my own bouts with that from time to time, believe it or not, where, you get up and you're going into your home office and, looking at the same screen and doing virtual calls all day, every day, just like you've been doing for maybe the last couple of years, and you're just not feeling it. And, you and I have tackled that topic before. I think a lot of times it's, you've got to focus on landing the step, the step in front of you, getting through and just jumping in, but being consistent in your approach and in your execution. One of the things that's helped me a great deal, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you approach this, but is just having a consistent approach and execution for how I plan. So whether it's planning my next day, I'll typically go through, it's one of the last things I do for the day. I'll go through my upcoming day. If I've got conflicts in scheduling, I'll address that. If I've got things that aren't essential to the day, like that they wouldn't have to happen on that day, but I could push them to the following day and not compromise anything, I will make that decision. And then the last element is fleshing out my non-negotiables. And often I'll do that either the night before or the first thing in the morning. Just carve out, what are the things that I have to get done today? And if I'm consistent in that approach and I'm consistently knocking those things out, it's going to make me more productive. So even on the days where maybe I'm not feeling it, or I'm not feeling as motivated, or I'm not feeling like I feel after I watch Rocky 1, I can still go out there and make a valiant effort. And the beauty of it is it all comes back around, because there are absolutely days in that consistent execution of approach where you may not be feeling it, but you feel really good after you got done what you needed to get done. And then the next day, maybe you wake up, you hit the gym, you come back, you sit in front of your desk, and you're feeling good again. So those things can come right back around. What are your thoughts, Jeff?
Yeah, I think everything you said, I agree with. I think in some ways the question is a little bit, the question is almost a little bit unfair, because in order to be consistent in anything, you need to be motivated. I found, like, for example, I'm training to run the Boston Marathon. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. I've been very consistent in my training, but if I didn't care about doing well in the race, I probably wouldn't have been consistent. So it's almost like a circular thing where, like, they kind of go hand in hand. I would think so. But generally speaking, I think what the intent of this message is that your motivation shouldn't come on like a day-to-day basis. You should have a larger goal, something that's even more ethereal, let's say, and in some ways might be less tangible, but like a bigger goal that you want for yourself that should be motivating you. Whereas if you're relying on how you feel day to day, that's going to be a challenge, because like you said, Carson, some days you're not feeling it, others you are. If you're relying on how well you slept, or if you've got good pump up music or whatever, like, those are variables that are always going to change. Whereas if you have a North Star that's like, hey, I want to achieve X thing within Y time frame, and that's your underlying motivation that allows you to be consistent, then, I think that's what makes more sense for people. And, I think one other thing that I would say about that is that it really matters whether your motivation is internal as opposed to external. If your motivation is external and dependent upon the way that you're received by others, or being validated by others, that's actually inherently going to be out of your control, because no matter how well you do, you can never control the perception, I think, fully of how others see you. Whereas if your motivation is internal, it's always within your control. It's always up to you. The ball is always in your hand. And I think that allows you to be more upbeat about being consistent. You're not going to, you're going to have to be accountable if it doesn't go well. And if it's successful, you know that it's completely on you because of your internal motivations. So those are maybe a couple things I would say about that, is have a North Star and and make sure that it's an internal motivation. It's not, the goal isn't that people are going to like you. It's that you are going to like yourself at the end of the day. So those would be my thoughts on it as well.
I love that, Jeff. What I'm hearing, ground yourself and kind of that desired outcome. Love your North Star piece. Even going through the motions moves you forward. So even if you've got to just rely on, hey, I know this is what I need to do right now, I'm going to do these activities, it moves you forward. It will make you feel good. And then last, I loved how you called out, don't rely on outside sources that you can't control to motivate you. If your motivation's coming from within and it's pointed toward that North Star, chances are you got a better chance of getting there.
Yeah, love it.
Good stuff as always, my friend. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Carson.